Welcome back, everyone, to the Ori and the Blind Forest Randomizer Tournament. Got another Swiss Round 4 matchup coming for you here today. It's Jay Halcyon versus Ozzy at the 1-2 record. This is an important match for both of them. The loser is unfortunately going to be eliminated from bracket contention. Here to cast this match today, my name is Volgen, and I am here with Jay Hobbs. And, Jay Hobbs, I love the intensity of these kind of matches.
Yeah, I actually just commentated another elimination potential match earlier today, and this is obviously in that same vein. In fact, I commented that with Jay Halcyon, so he kind of was able to give us a little bit of his thoughts on this match, which I'll worry about it when it gets to it. So I'm assuming that he's a little more worried than he was then. And Ozzy, I'm sure, is in that kind of same boat. Like, one loss here and you're out of bracket contention.
Yeah, and as for Ozzy, being pretty new to the randomizer, having basically joined the community around a month before the tournament started, and he's improved at a very rapid clip. But, this type of situation where you got to win or you're out, it's pretty scary when you're, that new to the thing. You don't have that much, that large well of experience to draw upon that someone like a Sigma or a Muffin or someone like that has at their disposal. So, you got to pull it out from somewhere else. And as for Halcyon, he apparently chose to pull his out from doing an all-skills run right before this, and I believe he got a 48. So,
well, it's always hard with the randomizer to kind of determine who has the edge in a matchup, right? Because there's so many factors in terms of what skills are they going to end up finding. Does it end up being a seed where they want to hunt a lot versus one where they want to make an early call to rush? All of these things are certainly factors, but with all that stuff in mind, I'd probably give a slight edge to Hal in this one.
Yeah, that experience and, just depth of knowledge certainly may do him pretty well. He has been around for a little while, played in the All-Skills tournament earlier this year, but we are going to be on our way now, both Ozzy and Hal getting off to their starts, and we'll see what sort of wacky progression this seed is going to have for us. And Ozzy maybe even showing a little bit of the nerves already as missing that first jump of the game.
I was going to say, that's definitely a nervous start if I've ever seen one, but that's okay because in the grand scheme of things, it's really not going to matter. Wall jump early on, not the sexiest of skills, but certainly one that's just nice to see. It's just kind of obnoxious to have to deal with no wall interaction, so always nice to just get that out of the way early.
Yeah, it'll make that Blackroot Burrows trip pretty straightforward compared to some of the alternatives. So that'll be nice. A ton of XP coming here from this pickup below the tree limb. 41. Pretty nice early on. Get that level up out of the way. The XP that Ozzy got from the Rhino turning out to be a little bit redundant, but yeah, I don't think he'll complain.
I was going to say, yeah, that XP being a slightly worse, C for Ozzy than for Hal, but that's okay. Again, one of those minor differences that shouldn't play too big of a factor in the grand scheme of things. A couple more pickups to check here. I don't expect anybody to make like a super crazy gamble and go straight into Blackroot Burrows yet. Although the odds of these next two keystones being not two keystones, it's fairly moderate.
Yeah, we haven't seen one yet, and it's not that likely that we see two, but we did see one. So maybe Hobbs.
Yeah, we'll see. Hal's going to be the first one on the left to catch up to this pickup, and it's another keystone. So they're going to be able to proceed off to the left, two vanilla keystones in a row. I mean, it's probably one of the easier, cost things for the randomizer to place. A 1 XP underwater as well, as we find out from Ozzy, and that's just kind of funny to see.
Yeah, and Hal not getting the check on that. Unfortunately, it won't matter to him based on what we found, but he was at 2 HP when he got to the door, so he just took a ghost door instead. Saved a little bit of time, but of course didn't get that knowledge, which, might come back to just kind of, bug him in the back of his head for a bit.
Yeah, always. Whenever you can't check something that you normally do, you gotta keep track of it. Hal checking this kind of, longer little pickup in this cove with the Mapstone Altar. Grabs an ability cell for it. Would have really liked to see a Mapstone there so that you don't have to do any backtracking to this altar later. But that was not in the cards today, and Hal's going to continue on to this loot part of Left Blades.
And with Wall Jump, he does have access to the entire set of pickups around here. He can collect the keystone that's up here, the hidden XP, which you'll check right now, is just energy regeneration. and he moved the block into place to be able to jump on up there. But you can make a jump up there that's pretty precise with only wall jump. Most people don't like to do it because it's pretty crappy, and ouch.
Yeah, I was going to say both runners taking it a little bit safe leading up to this area because there is that energy crystal where Hal was able to refund energy, and Ozzy will be soon, although he actually leveled up, so that Rhino helping him from earlier on, helping out a little bit. Until that point, they weren't able to make a save ever since their ghost door. Now, Hal missed one of the pickups here. He only grabbed that map stone, maybe looking to get that on the way back up rather than doing a backtrack, or maybe he just fell and didn't want to have to go all the way around that loop again.
That was really interesting. It turns out to be a map stone, and yeah, like as he was going for that, he very clearly like turned away from it. I'm very curious about that. Ozzy's going to go ahead and turn in the map stone immediately. Again, if you haven't been following too closely, these are progressive in the Ori Randomizer. That means that wherever in the world you turn in your first map stone, that will always be one specific randomized item, and then wherever you turn in your second map stone, same deal all the way up to 9, and he gets some XP, I believe, or
it was another keystone. Yeah,
so I crossed up the 2 screens.
That keystone could potentially matter for progression, right? Like they might have to go through the spirit caverns for keystone door at the top of that area, and if that's the case, then Ozzy certainly has a slight edge here at the moment, having that picked up that extra map stone and already turned in done that backtracking and turned it in. Hal is going to be able to either turn in his current map stone in Blackroot Burrows, which is where he's heading now, or in that Glades Altar later, but either way, he'll be down one of those map stone fragments and potentially have to go pick that one up again later.
Yeah, and we'll see if he decides to backtrack over to it in a Spirit Caverns visit, potentially. Ozzy now, having just completed the wall jump tree, so it seems like he's a little behind, but he's got more knowledge and that extra map stone difference in his favor. So pretty much even at the moment, as they'll both be working on Blackroot Burrows for the next little bit here.
Yeah, Hal's about to find our next pickup soon after, series of a little bit tricky jumps that look pretty nice, at least when you pull them off. And Health Cell, that's always great to see early on. You need at least 5 to complete the game if you don't get clean water or you don't get ultra defense. Both those things could potentially show up. More health I would expect to also show up, but it's always just nice being able to take more hits in the early game.
Yeah, no one is ever going to complain about getting a health cell early on like that in the randomizer, and it is practically entirely random as far as when and where you get health in the randomizer. There are a couple paths where we'll say, okay, you need to have health, but I think actually in standard mode there's none, in fact, due to the way this mode is set up, which means you could just be on 3 health for a very, very long time, Hobbs.
Yeah, quite a while indeed. And you can kind of tell that we've been looking into the randomizer logic lately with that kind of in-depth analysis. Hal, meanwhile, moving up to this pickup at the top of the room. Let's see, just experience for him. He just got a level up, which is nice, but obviously that experience isn't going to really help him out too much. Would have ideally liked to see something more related to progression, especially right now with Hal being down that 1 keystone from that mapstone turn-in.
Yeah, and if you do come into Blackroot Burrows a little bit earlier than this, then sometimes you might be a little bit starved on ability points. You might need like an ability cell or something like that, or that level up. But in this case, Hal has already got 4 because there were a whole bunch of ability cells along the way. So I don't think he's too worried about being able to do his cutscene skip coming up here in just a moment.
Where did he place that save? Did he place it in front of the pedestal?
He did, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that was kind of clever. He had to wait on the cycle anyway, so he went and placed his save early just to give him a little bit of safety in case some kind of horrible mishap happened with the laser or something like that, and instead now he can just use it. Ozzy, meanwhile, he made his jump across into the right side of Blackroot Burrows, gets another level up as well, and I'm sure he'll be going and checking this XP as he lights this lantern.
Yeah, he was being a little tentative on that jump, likely because he's a little concerned about missing it and taking a death.
Hal taking a death from that crusher glitch, unfortunately. Not a whole lot he could do about that one. Just landed on top of the crusher, and sometimes it kind of sticks you inside the crusher when that happens, and you take a death. So grab some more experience, but that's still not a whole lot of progression-related items yet.
Well, another keystone to make up for the one that he doesn't have, although, of course, what really matters is the total count, and that could still come into play. He's currently got 2. Takes a fall, unfortunately, all the way down to the bottom. He only wanted to fall about halfway there, so he can check the ability cell, but not a huge deal. He's got a recent save, so he can just reload. And we will find that. Oh gosh,
second fall,
quite too soon.
Yeah, these tend to kind of compound because you want to catch up that, oh, I fell and I had to die. Let me try to make this even faster. And then suddenly you end up falling again, missing the platform. But he's going to grab it. And who would have guessed more experience from this seed?
Oh, baby. I'm so excited about all these experience points we are acquiring.
So he's going to go a little further down. Now, this pickup here, this next one, is the last one that's in Logic and Blackroot Burrows with their current skill set. You aren't expected to be able to... It's not the last one that they'll pick up, surely, but it's the last one expected in Logic. So if we see another Keystone here, then that probably means... Or, well, that's certainly going to mean that intended Logic is to go up through the Keystone door. But no, energy, so also still means the same thing.
Yeah, there's not too many options remaining for these players. The Keystone from the Mapstone would certainly help out here, but that actually only leaves them at, I think, 4 Keystones, which is actually not enough because I don't believe they opened up the Spirit Cavern door on the way through.
Yeah, so they each need 6 right now. And I think Ozzy has 4. It's very hard to tell on our restream here. I think Ozzy has 4 and Hal has 3, if I'm not mistaken. Could be slightly off on that. Ooh, ouch. Hal taking a death and having to deal with these crushers again, but made a nice safety save at least. So with needing 6 here, like if there just happens to be an extra one at Spirit Caverns, then there's no problem. Hal doesn't have to go back and grab that Mapstone right away. Doesn't have to turn it in. But I mean, and he is going to grab his Keystone from turning it in here. So that Mapstone turn-in would still have to be like another Keystone. Right. But we'll have to see. Like right now, it's all just hypotheticals. Hal isn't necessarily any further behind Ozzy than Ozzy is behind him. So. Yeah,
and I mean, some of the quick deaths that Hal has taken here and the falls into the main area of BRB have helped Ozzy out a little bit because Ozzy had some problems of his own in the the navigation of Blackroot Burrows, which is a really difficult area, both casually and in speedruns and in randomizer. So it's given Ozzy a little bit of a chance to catch up some of that, and so he'll be checking these same pickups, and then Hal continuing left here.
Yeah. So now here's an interesting thing. Hal decided not to put the Mapstone in Blackroot Burrows. A little odd on that decision, I think, but maybe he was just like, okay, I know I'm going to have to go left towards Spirit Caverns anyway, so I'll put one in that altar, but that would actually be more backtracking, I think. So maybe just a little hiccup there in thinking about the seed, probably trying to figure out where Logic wanted him to go first.
Maybe, yeah. I guess I'm not 100% sure what the thinking there was. Taking a little bit of a death there, sending him back to the lake here. Not too much of a time loss, but again, just little things that add up over the course of the seed that you don't really want to have happening. But fortunately, this one, just making a save and throwing it every once in a while will help you out here. Hal is going to unlock the Spirit Caverns door, and we do see him heading down to the map, so that part makes sense. The real question is he going to go pick up that Mapstone fragment he abandoned earlier?
Yeah, that's the significantly costlier backtracking, because he'd have to go all the way around that left side of the loop again. We're going to find out right here, and he's not going to, so... Here's another question. Has he just forgotten about it? Because if so, that could be a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's not very often that you get punished that hard for missing a Mapstone, but I mean, it can happen. I'm trying to think of reasons that this might have occurred to him. One that comes to mind is he just did an all skills run earlier, and that might have him thinking like, oh, crap, I'm supposed to skip pickups. No, wait, crap, I'm doing randomizer. I don't think that's that likely, but that's like one of the few things I can think of.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. And I can't quite tell. I think he might have enough Keystones now. If not, hopefully he'll get one here. And he gets Glide, I think. Yeah, Glide. Yeah, so that's actually really nice.
That is really nice. And he did end up at 5 Keystones, so he's got enough to go up. But it doesn't really open anything yet, so we do still need some additional progression.
Yeah, at the moment, they're probably going to get something from the Charge Flame Tree area. I think that's all that's left for the most part.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so they're going to go... Hal's going to opt to skip this cutscene. Nope, changed his mind at the last second. Or didn't have enough ability cells, one of the two. And just decides, hey, I'm going to watch this. We might have to teleport back here later. I would expect Ozzy to do the same.
Hobbs, can you elaborate a little bit on what the kind of the calculus is on whether you skip this cutscene or not?
Right. So if you only end up having to teleport back to the Grove teleporter once, it's generally not worth watching the cutscene, because the amount of time it takes to watch this cutscene, and even though you can actually skip a large portion of it, you still have to sit there and you're locked into position for a long time. So if you only end up having to travel back to this area manually once, you're better off skipping the cutscene. But if you end up having to come back multiple times, whether it be because of logic did it that way or because you have to like research, it ends up being better to have that teleporter. So it's really kind of just up to the a lucky call in the situation, more or less.
Basically, yeah. So both runners opting to watch and get their stuff, and I think that was a little hard to see, but I think Halcyon just got the Grove teleporter.
No, it was Grotto.
No, it was Grotto. Okay.
Yeah, so Grotto teleporter activated. There's their progression that we were looking for. And he does a nice little trick there where he actually saved during the cutscene in order to gain control of Ori. And when that blue wall on the right that you're seeing on Ozzy's screen just disappear now, when that blue wall is off screen, it actually doesn't exist. So saving during that cutscene meant that he was able to just completely bypass it since he didn't have a way of breaking that wall. Very heads up play from Hal there, because otherwise he would have had to potentially, go all the way down to that one pickup and then climb back up.
That's right. Meanwhile, we got the Sunstone clue as our first of the 3 key clues, and that apparently is located in Valley of the Wind. So Valley of the Wind, probably along with Hollow Grove, one of the least favorite of people's clues, mostly because it spans a pretty large area, and also several of the pickups are gated by some crucial skills that we just might even not find, like, for example, Grenade. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of that. But for now, we don't really have anything to make of that. We don't even have access to Valley Hubs, so we can't do much with this.
Yeah, Stomp and Grenade and also Charge Jump sometimes, all pickups that could potentially be gaining some of those skills. Climb even, if you're not familiar with some certain sequence breaks and stuff like that. So, like you said, Valley also being an area that like kind of spans a long distance, as opposed to something more like Grotto, where it's a little bit more condensed, or Sorrow, where everything's just kind of like, in this nice little linear path, more or less. But Hal checking the Death Gauntlet, same as Ozzy here. He did have a death or two there that was going to potentially cost him. Now, he didn't keep that Mapstone, right? And it looks like he is going to go back for it. And he was able to get back out of the water that time because of picking up some extra health from the brambles. So that was really nice.
Yeah, that could potentially be very important for him. And I think he has a good sense that if he doesn't know specifically that he missed the Mapstone earlier, what he does at least seem to know is, like, I don't have any Mapstones, and it would be nice to have one because I'm about to go to the bottom of Gumo's hideout, and there's a map altar there, and I want to make sure I check whatever's on number 2. So good job by him making sure that he's able to do that, but Ozzy's going to be able to check 3 there at the same time.
Now, the interesting thing here is that Hal actually went back up to the teleporter in order to get more energy, so that way he could open the 2 energy door on the left side of here. He hasn't opened it yet, but my guess is that he'll open it on his way back from here if he's able to jump across that gap. That jump is very tight without double jump, but he does have glide, so that should help him out. Ozzy, meanwhile, was just looking to grab energy from the right, and he's actually not even going to worry about the 2 energy door. But neither is Hal, so ignore me.
Yeah, I mean, that 2 energy door is... It's one of those things that it's like, it costs 2 energy, so it's kind of annoying because their energy management's very specific here at this point anyway, as Ozzy just gets experience from checking the map, and map 2 for Hal, turns out, was an ability cell. But, it's one of those things that costs those energy and also might not even give you anything. It's a pain to navigate with only these skills, although, Hobbs, it is in logic with only these skills.
Right, and that's kind of a big factor in it. They've been pretty limited so far, so it's potentially something they'll have to do, but both runners have the teleporter, so at least it's pretty quick to return to. I did notice also both of them decided not to check anything in lower left grotto. I don't think there was anything in logic down there at the current time with their skills, but there are some pickups that you can check, and both of them just saying, hey, I just want to proceed and try to find my charge flame like Ozzy did.
Yeah, that's a really nice next bit of progression. I mean, it's not going to make them go that much faster, but at least it will get them through some of those blue walls that previously were blocking them off of places like Valley Entry and like the Spider Sack area from the Spirit Tree. So nice skill to find. It'll get them a lot of access. They might even make a second trip down here to Gumo's Hideout having that in hand, and they'll be able to check things like those plants.
Yeah, that was another reason for skipping a lot of the left side. Ooh, Water Vein on the tree here from Ozzy. So that doesn't quite put Ginso in logic yet, but it starts making the runners think about it for sure. Am I going to make an early Ginso play once I have the skills necessary to be able to do so? On top of that, it could mean that the second clue found at the 6th tree might end up being useless for these runners.
Yeah, it might just be another clue. I mean, really, at this point, they don't likely need the Gumon seal. There's like a tiny possibility that they would have to be a lot of skills all buried in Forlorn, and I don't see it. So most likely they're good on clues at this point. They've already got the Sunstone one. I like Ozzy's play here to backtrack up from the Charge Flame tree area, check this plant, and then he might just continue upwards and check Valley Entry potentially.
Yeah, and I think actually he's not going to do that. Is he going to go? He might have just forgotten that he had that ceiling open or something, or maybe he's going to use this health to try to check the long flippers here. Nope.
Maybe he just has entirely other plans that neither of us can figure out.
a little concerned on not using Altar there, but whatever. Hal is going to be checking Valley Entry now. Ooh, getting bullied by this bird a little bit, and luckily able to take care of him. And this plant is something that he should be able to check fairly easily. This tree's a little mean, though.
Yeah, that one wall jump right here is just a little bit finicky, but he knows it's possible. He seems to know the trick to do it, and there you go. He gets the Sunstone. Are you kidding me?
Talk about a time investment paying off. Now, I mean, it does pay off right now, but like that's not actually the biggest deal, right? Because that's a pickup that Ozzy knows is in Valley and is almost certainly going to check at some point in the game.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't do anything for him right now. It's not like it gets him more progression. It just gets a nice load off his mind for later. So that is definitely a big plus for him. But yeah, definitely not going to decide the race or by any stretch. We do have Ozzy checking these plants down here, so I do like this play, as Halcyon is going to travel into the Spider Sack area instead, using his Charge Flame and Wall Jump. But pretty skill limited so far, Hobbs. We're having to do a lot of really slow traversal.
Yeah, and Ozzy's still not, well, neither runner at 4 energy at the moment. So even checking this lower left area without the potential to open that door, I don't think Ozzy likes to go for the save drop, although he might use his glide to check the stability cell at least. And, oh, hey, there's his 4th energy. Man, that's a convenient time to get an energy cell. I think that happened to me like the first 3 rando seeds I did, and so I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna always gamble on an energy cell, and that's burned me in the past. But Ozzy knew how to read the seed, man. He knew it was gonna happen.
That's right. So he's able to open that door, and he was already able to check the plant before that. So everything working out really well for him down here in this redirect area. And so while we're waiting on Halcyon to check a couple more things, Ozzy's about to be able to check the 2 pickups down here, and we might see something interesting. Halcyon, we'll see if he's able to come up with any clever ways to check this energy door.
Now Ozzy moving off to the left here to open or to turn off these lasers in the casual method. He could go for like a C-Flame redirect on one of these shots, or maybe C-Flame actually even breaks that barrier, but either way.
Yeah, it does. He was short energy though.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, probably doesn't have that upgrade yet for the half cost. And Hal actually used the 1-frame trick for the energy glitch on that door, so that way he was able to open the 4 energy door with only 3 energy cells. Nicely done by him. Ozzy, he got, I think, either a Spirit Flame upgrade or a Spirit Light efficiency.
Spirit Flame upgrade is right, yeah.
So nothing crucial, just kind of a little quality of life pickup down there. Pretty significant time investment, but again, one of those things where Hal has to keep that area in his mind at the moment in terms of skills, and Ozzy at least gets to move on to somewhere new.
Yeah, but in the meantime, Halcyon might, find something valuable down here in the Spider Sack area. I say down, but this is actually higher than where Ozzy is, but don't worry about that. We do have Ozzy heading down to check the Glide Vault, as we sometimes refer to it, and we might see if he finds something here. This sucks a lot less with Charge Flame, doesn't it?
Yeah, and Glide, in particular, which obviously Glide we mentioned is required for this section. But yeah, Charge Flame, the fact that he was able to wait for that makes it a lot nicer, but still just experience. He's going to check the underwater pickup, even though it's not in logic yet, and just, again, even more experience. And he decides, that's not even worth it. I'm just going to reload.
There's some really nice use of Charge Flame by Ozzy there. Like, that was a very quick job of getting through a section that normally really, really sucks, and having the savvy to know, like, hey, I've got Charge Flame, I can use this in this very specific way. Like, that strat looked a little bit practiced, so nice job by him.
Definitely. All right, Hal into Hollow Grove. I think this has like a pretty good odds at this point of potentially having their next intended progression. So he doesn't have a map stone to put in this altar. That's pretty interesting, but, well, neither does Ozzy, I guess, at this point. And still just finding energy cells so far. At least that's Hal's fourth, though.
Yeah, and a little bit of a high five from our runners here as they're navigating the same area again, finally. They've both got different levels of progression that they've done so far, so they each have checked some things that the other hasn't checked, but they're not really able to get any advantage over one another yet. Hal hasn't found anything particularly special, neither is Ozzy. Neither of them even has an advantage on like health or energy hubs.
Sure, but this could be the play here because Ozzy's now checking this pickup, the Horrorfield's health cell that is actually in logic, and Hal, he opted to fall down and check the map stone first, so he didn't bother with this. This could potentially be something big, and it's double jump.
Wow.
Yeah, so that opens up Ginso into the progression, as well as just a handful of fantastic pickups all around the world. That's going to be pretty big.
Yeah, I have to think that Halcyon's probably running out of options, so he's got to get back there pretty soon, but not that soon since he does have Grotto remaining. The good thing is, with his current skills, he is very limited on where he can go. So it's not that this is going to block him forever or anything, but it gives Ozzy a very great opportunity to just get off to a head start here on the next stage of progression, which is probably going to involve a near future visit to the Ginso tree.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ozzy just goes like straight up there, checks the swamp teleporter. He got a map stone as well, so he's actually going to turn that in first, but just experience for his fourth turn in. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Ozzy just go activate the swamp teleporter here and go straight into the Ginso tree. He could potentially go past it and start checking some of the things in right swamp, but I mean, he doesn't have grenade to get that one pickup. Anyways, he can't go into the stomp area with his current skills, so probably better to just go straight into the Ginso tree.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point. We'll see which one he opts for. Of course, it's definitely a runner preference kind of thing. Maybe he says, I think that some of those other pickups are going to be important, and the grenade one, I haven't seen grenade yet, so maybe it won't. And we'll find out what he opts to go with here. But double jump being such a great mobility technique, he'll have so many options here as he goes through. Just it's a sea change compared to when you only have wall jump.
It's pretty wild how kind of vanilla this seed has been, right? Like, in terms of the skills that they found. They first found wall jump, then they found charge flame, then they found double jump. Albeit not in their normal positions, but still in their normal order, which I think is always kind of funny to find. And now you see Ozzy going into the Ginso tree, which would be additionally the next vanilla location to go.
I mean, there's some like intention to that, Hobbs. It is the randomizer is balanced around trying to kind of preference giving you the skills in a vanilla-like order, mostly because, of course, the later skills in the game are so powerful that if it just always gave those to you at equal percentage chance, then some seeds you would just be so powerful right from the start. It would be a little less interesting. So that is an intentional design of the randomizer, but it's interesting to see it so kind of so starkly illustrated like in this seed.
Yeah. And Hal actually did use his charge flame to break open that one barrier that we saw as he turned off the lasers for earlier. He also decided not to keep the upgrades down there, but he is backtracking his way out of here. So I don't know if it's just to check this underwater pickup or if he also plans to maybe go do that mini boss with the charge flame that he has now.
And Ozzy picking up Climb in the Ginso tree, so that's another nice little pickup. It's not going to do much for him right now, given that he already had Wall Jump. It does make wall interaction slightly easier in some cases, but the big thing will be if he picks up Charge Jump. That is a really, really nice skill combination to have.
That's true, although it could, like, under special circumstances, just slightly extend the time between which he starts searching for and finding Sunstone. Not likely to happen, but is potentially something that could be a factor. But you'll still way rather take Charge Jump over not having it. Ooh, and Ozzy going to have to do this puzzle again. Luckily, only having to wait one more cycle. And unfortunately, okay, that one looks like it's going to work out for him. The trick with that redirector is to kind of hold it the entire time while pushing it in to the portal until it just lets go automatically. And it seems Ozzy might have just been having a little trouble with that here.
Yeah, that's usually an all-skill strat, and there's many, many ways in randomizer seeds to be able to circumvent that particular strategy, so it's not super uncommon to see people have some difficulty with it. Plus, it's slow as heck.
Yeah.
Quickly dispatching the mini-boss, though, is Ozzy with Charge Flame in hand, and you have Halcyon heading by the Ginso tree, so he is going to go around this outer swamp area, and we might get to see some new stuff here from him. Many of these pickups definitely checkable with only what he has. A couple not. He missed one just now, but he does have the ability to go back up and get to it. Just a slight time loss.
Yeah, and these pickups, again, it turns into one of those things where he's going to have to leave more of them behind than he would if, say he had double jump or something. But Ozzy didn't have enough keystones in the Ginso tree, and he's not comfortable doing the awful key dupe. I don't blame him. So he just said, hey, I'm just going to leave and go look for more keystones. There's still a lot of one-off pickups left that were opened up by the existence of double jump.
Yeah, man, that's a situation to be in, and it's so easy to forget about keystones that, like, neither of us even mentioned it, right? Because both of us were just thinking, like, yep, go into Ginso, that's the place to go. So hopefully it won't be, I mean, it's obviously a time loss, but hopefully it won't weigh too heavily on Ozzy's mind. Having double jump still giving him a large advantage here. Halcyon yet to find anything of particular value out here outside Swamp. But we'll see if he's able to quickly remember that Horror Fields is there and that health cell is definitely in logic.
Yeah, I think he might have found one keystone, maybe. I don't quite remember, but there are some other pickups that he couldn't check that Ozzy can. And those could also be additional keystones. On top of that, there are just a lot of one-offs that got opened up by double jump in the Glades area, in Hollow Grove, in Grotto, as you've seen Ozzy cleaning some of those up already. So hey, there's a keystone for Ozzy, and that might be his fourth. So he might just take this right swamp path all the way back up towards Ginso and go in again.
Yeah, it is his fourth keystone. He does have the opportunity to check some of these pickups around here. He's going to make sure to skip this cutscene just to keep this spot open to pass through later. Halcyon, meanwhile, doing some damage boost to get through the Sicily area. He does have glide, so I think this is mostly... I don't know if it's in logic or not. It's possible. That's really the big one. It's possible.
I don't believe it's in logic with just the wall jump and glide that he's got. Especially like this part here as well. Trying to actually get to the plant is not going to work out for him. Yeah. So unfortunately, a lot of time invested for something that he wasn't able to really check there. But I mean, at this point, he's probably just having a hard time remembering what's left out of those things that he left behind earlier.
Yeah, the worst thing in the world is to get down to exactly one location left, because it is 100% impossible to remember where that one location is. So obviously picking up the swamp teleporter, which is it's something.
Yeah, a little too late, right? I mean, and it's not something where you would expect either runner to gamble on skipping the swamp teleporter when putting the water vein into the Ginso door or something like that. Like it just wouldn't be realistic. So both of them are going to find that too late. Ozzy obviously already being the first to find it. And now he's not continuing up to Ginso from the right side. Little surprised by this. I think he might want to just check a few more one-offs first.
Yeah, there's probably a number of things along the way that he could make some checks of. For example, just thinking back, it looks like he had skipped the trigger entirely for these lasers. So it's still here, and unfortunately now he is going to have some lovely quick beams greeting him as he heads down, but fortunately he does know how to deal with them, and so he gets safely by. And Halcyon, meanwhile, is finally heading to his pickup.
Yeah, he'll be grabbing double jump here soon. Probably going to be kicking himself a little bit for skipping out on this one earlier, but it's a pretty significant time investment, so certainly not a bad call by any means. Just always sucks when it ends up being the wrong call. But Ozzy, yeah, he's still going to check some one-offs. I guess he doesn't want to go redo Ginso if he has the opportunity to maybe get charge jump or something else like that in Grotto that will significantly speed up his backtracking.
I think also this is pretty good from the perspective of you don't necessarily want to go back into Ginso for a second time, and then it turns out, oh, you also needed to go past the second key door, and there's not 4 keystones in the top of Ginso, and that's like, well, great, now I got to go back for a third visit. Right now, the only situations that would really call for that would be something like, I don't know, charge jump or bash being in the top of Ginso, with the other one of them being on the bash tree itself. But
right.
I don't know, there would have to be some obscure circumstances, but trying to avoid that type of thing might be what's motivating right now.
And like, it's actually like, the more I think about it, the more I really like this play from Ozzy, because he checked everything leading up to the bash tree except the bash tree, right? Like, that would be the only new pickup he would get by re-entering Ginso. It's obviously one of the main objectives he needs to complete, because the runners have to visit all the skill trees. But in terms of new progression options, he would be putting all his chips in that basket. Instead, he can check some of these one-offs and stuff, and if it so happens that Logic expects him to go up to Ginso with the ability to go past the bash tree already, then this kind of checking will have paid off for him.
Now, I want to draw your attention real quick to Halcyon's screen, because in the top right, you're going to be able to see what his keystone count is, and it's 3. And I'm not sure there were any keystones in the beginning of Ginso. I know that Climb was here, so that's nice. But I don't know that any keystones are here, so that's a problem.
Did he maybe just realize? No? Oh, no, he just wanted to stop the platform from swinging. Okay, yeah, so he's making this gamble as well. Very possibly. There was 1 keystone, we're being told, just before the bash door, so he is going to be just barely okay. But if that bash tree does not have progression, then both our runners are going to be a little sad, because they're going to grab that tree and still have to check more one-offs. There are a few things remaining in Glades, especially, that could potentially be checked.
I'm really enjoying the fact that we have both runners in the Ginso tree at the same time, except Ozzy is already on his second visit, but Hal had checked a fair bit before getting double jump, so although there's still a number of things that he could still check, I think this is a great play from him, obviously, but the real question is, what's on that bash tree? Ozzy's going to get there probably a little bit ahead, thanks to not having to do the mini-boss again, and then are they going to be able to continue higher in the tree?
Yeah, another thing he doesn't have to do is this puzzle room that you're seeing Hal in right now. And he's also not trying to one-cycle... Oh, is he going to? Okay, he thought about trying to one-cycle it with Charge Flame, but he decided not to. Meanwhile, Ozzy, he gets to pass by right now because he already opened this earlier. And yeah, this is going to put him in the lead in Ginso. But yeah, like, unless the bash tree itself is something that lets them continue further up, this might not be the last visit they make to Ginso.
Oh boy, this is an interesting scene. It's really challenging their ability to follow this very constrained progression. There's not a lot of flexibility here. There haven't been a lot of options, and here again there is no option because they did not receive either bash or charge jump. It is impossible to continue in the Ginso tree. Ozzy knows it, and he leaves immediately. And now he, has to decide on some of those few remaining one-offs, and he does seem to be heading to left Glades, as you'd mentioned earlier.
Well, and so this is actually a really good pathing from Ozzy, I think, because he can check, but you could potentially check this pickup underwater if he wanted to, but he's going to skip by that because it's not in logic yet. He can check the ability cell up here, which is where he's going next, and he can check the ability cell in Spirit Caverns, potentially check Gladeser while he's there, and then route all of that into a Valley entry check, because he still has not gotten the Sunstone from Valley entry, and I don't think Hal ever checked the pickup on top of the tree there, so that could be progression.
I believe that's correct, yeah. So a lot of different options. None of them, sadly, involve any of Bash, Stomp, Charge Jump, Grenade, or Dash, all of which are really nice skills that you would kind of want to have, and neither runner has found any of them. So that's a little bit perturbing, but here we go with Ozzy heading into Spirit Caverns, and we'll see how he does on this finicky jump that gives people trouble a whole lot.
Oh, immediately gets it first try. And oh man, a mapstone. No, Ozzy! He leaves! Doesn't decide to continue on into Valley entry. Hopefully that won't burn him in the end, but he did grab that mapstone and think, okay, he had the heads up, thought process of, all right, there are potentially more mapstone altars I can get to, so I'm immediately going to go place this one before I forget about it.
I just want to mention that Halcyon went into Death Gauntlet, opened the 4 energy door in the water there with poison water. He managed to get the swim just barely with enough health to get there. It turned out to be a health cell, so a nice little find for him, and he managed to survive that.
Oh, I thought it was going to happen again, but it was an energy cell instead. And luckily, Ozzy did end up going to Valley, so I'm not sure why he didn't progress just up through Spirit Caverns, but either way, he's going through Valley here. And now that I think about it, I'm not sure there actually were any other mapstone altars for him to place in. So this has pretty decent odds of being the progression item here.
If it is, man, Halcyon, it is not. I was going to say
another mapstone.
Yeah, I was going to say that the Halcyon would have gotten bitten twice by just single pickups that that he had left behind. But yeah, it looks like it's not it. Halcyon, you see that little mouse waving? I think he thinks it's Glazer. We'll see what Ozzy thinks as he gets here. I don't know that anyone's checked this XP above Charge Flame either, Hobbs.
Yeah, I don't think that's been checked. So Ozzy is going to be the first one to check it here. He hasn't actually done most of the Spirit Cavern, the Spider Sack area at all. So he might check a lot of this here. And yeah, he's going to continue on. All he got was a Keystone, so he pretty much has to now. And Glazer is going to be the find from Halcyon, and this could be it. Like, there's really not a lot of stuff left.
Yeah, like, the number of options that they have is very limited. Now, that said, this couldn't be, like... this could be not necessarily, like, totally unblocking progression. It could be something like Clean Water, and then, like, Charge Jump is in the water somewhere, and maybe Ozzy's sequence breaks to that, but, like... there's so few options left at this point.
Have we even not seen any of the water pickups, though? Like, I think we've seen them all. Outside of Grenade Locked and ones in other areas, but Glades are still not the progression. So there's probably a double jump pickup somewhere that still has not been grabbed from either runner. And
there is one water pickup nearby, Hobbs. Ozzy is going to go right past him in just a few moments.
But they still don't have Clean Water. So
exactly. And I don't even know what's left in Logic. I've lost track.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I was thinking about this one earlier and forgot about it. But the truck reminds us. The Grotto far left pickup with the shifting columns that you normally like have to double jump with. That is still available. As is with Glide and double jump the dash plant. So I think that's where Ozzy's
Actually, this was in Logic with Glide and Wall Jump right from the start, because this is stupid. Garbage pickup everyone hates. Well, and you know what else is still left?
They didn't have Glide when they came through here the first time, so it's not like they missed it.
Oh, you're right.
But they got Glide early on, and it's not one that you would really think of.
Yep, because this pickup is trash.
Oh no, Ozzy. Doesn't get his jump. He's going to have to try again.
There's one more, Hobbs. There's one more I thought of, and this one's really bad because no one's ever going to go back for this, but the XP at the double jump tree. They could not reach when they went there.
That's very true. And that would probably be the worst of all of the backtracking options available to them. So yeah, Hal taking a moment of pause to see what's available. And Keystone from Ozzy means he's going back to Grotto, most likely, if he thinks about it.
This is truly something. Again, I'll just repeat the thing I said a little earlier in the stream. You really don't ever want to be in the situation of being down to your last pickup, because it is so hard to remember the very last couple things that there are.
And honestly, almost even worse than that is that it's very hard to route them efficiently, right? Like, each one ends up just kind of being, well, which one has the least time cost? And I'm just going to hope that that's the one. And then you just end up doing them in an order that seems, good to you. it's really hard to actually route them very efficiently. Ozzy is going to come down into this area, which I think we saw Hal go to before, so not going to get any new information here because he's unable to get up to this health cell. I think you actually technically can get to this health cell with his skills if you were to level up to triple jump, but it's not something in logic. So
yeah, and it's actually pretty difficult as well, so not at all surprised to see him skip out on that for now and head down into the bottom where, as you mentioned, there's that one pickup.
Yeah, my doubles partner and I have a name for this pickup that I cannot repeat on this broadcast, and that should kind of tell you how really obnoxious it is. So hopefully this is it. If not, he has to go all the way back down to the double jump tree, and Ozzy's going to find it in just a moment. Find out in just a moment. It's Bash. Wow. Of course it's Bash. Oh, man. So maintaining those skills in the proper vanilla order, Bash is going to open up a lot of things for Ozzy. A lot of sequence breaks, but in terms of logic, only, I think, like 2 substantially new areas. He could go up into Ginso again and go past the Bash tree. That is an option. But also it opens Hollow Grove, or the Horu Fields area in Hollow Grove. And I think that might be the only 2 in-logic areas that Bash opens. But it does open some other pickups as well.
That is so god-awful. Oh my gosh. We'll see which one Ozzy chooses as he's working his way out of Grotto right now. Halcyon heading into the Death Gauntlet here. Maybe left something behind. Not 100% sure. I thought he collected everything out along the way here, but maybe he's going to Charge Flame the plant from below. That's a possibility.
That actually might be what he's doing here. And yeah, that looks like it is. Good call. That's something that could potentially... Oh, has he already done this? I think he's already done it. Oh, no, there we go.
Yeah, it's that sign. If sign attracts to the stupid Frankie, then you actually can't blow up the plant.
Ozzy making some quick use of double bashing immediately, or making quick use of that bash skill, I guess, rather, in order to double bash things and check things slightly out of sequence or just a little faster than doing it the casual way. And it looks like he's going to sequence break into the stomp area. Probably the right call here. You definitely wouldn't want to redo the Ginso tree if you can avoid it. And they do have glide, so it's not like they're missing, you know, something super crucial for Sorrow, for example.
Well, look on Halcyon's side, Hobbs. He is picking up Bash right now, and he has, thanks to that, actually, you know, that double jump pickup took him so long to get to, but after that, you know, going to Bash that quickly actually made up a ton of that time. And here's the other funny thing. I bet both runners right now think like, I am completely dead. even Ozzy's like, God, it took me so long to find Bash. I'm screwed.
I mean, maybe, but like double jump being in the Horrorfields health cell and Bash being in that pickup, like where it was, those are 2 of the most like commonly skipped plays when you're trying to go fast. So they might actually not really think they're that far behind. It's certainly a possibility. But you're right. Like Hal caught up a ton of time there. He didn't check nearly as many of the pickups that double jump opened up before finding Bash as Ozzy did. Like Ozzy got down to 2 pickups left effectively. And he found, like, for when he found Bash. Whereas Hal still had a lot of things like lower left grotto open that he hadn't checked yet, I believe.
Yeah, in fact, he's got a number of things in Outer Swamp here as well, so he might spend a little bit of extra time checking them before he heads on into the Stomp Tree, which I would guess is probably the same direction that he's going to be taking momentarily. Obviously collecting another Keystone. You know, anytime you ever have problems with Keystones, Hobbs, it always seems that the game is nice and kind and just pours them on you right after you actually needed them.
Every single time, yeah. Hal took a pretty rough death trying to check that ability cell that we know is an explosion power upgrade, and is going to have to backtrack back over there. This time, hopefully with a save, maybe ahead of time, and or maybe he'll just go straight into Stomp. Like Hal's playstyle has definitely been to skip more pickups, so I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't do like a full backtrack through this swamp area and check stuff like the health cell and things like that. He might instead just try to rush. Ozzy, meanwhile, is going to go ahead and start moving left and try to break into Valley here with Bash.
Yeah, that'll require a sequence break using this Frankie. And to start, he's going to need to get these birds away from him because otherwise he's not going to be able to do much. There we go. So he just needs to make sure not to kill this Frankie. Don't drop him on the spikes. Just get him on top of the peg. That is killing the Frankie, unfortunately, so he will have to respawn and try again. He did drop a good save right before heading into Valley, so that's potentially going to be important. But yeah, this is an annoying trick, but without Stomp, this is really your only option here.
Yeah, pretty much. I at this point, I would put a fair sum of money on the fact that Stomp is sitting in upper Ginso. It does like to show up there about 15% of the time, and in this specific case, like it's either there or a one-off pickup that Bash revealed, or potentially over by the double jump tree.
So we have Halcyon doing some nice fish strats on his side to get up here to the Stomp tree, and I'm not sure if we saw that XP from Ozzy. I at least might have missed it, but I'm sure Ozzy probably checked it. Right,
he checked it. Tree. Yeah. Oh, that one. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the Valley tree one. Now, I don't know if Ozzy checked the one underwater in Valley here. It looks like he might just be saying, "Oh, I'm just gonna go ahead and continue on." I wonder if he's trying to say that he's in go mode with this, which I mean, he could be. Like, I think he has enough
technically
skills.
True.
Yeah, I would like to see him use some of those 11 or so ability cells that he's been sitting on for a while, because I think he could probably get to triple jump and potentially even ultra defense, but we'll see.
Looks like for now, not just yet, he will be holding on them. He does have the grenade tree remaining, so he does want to make sure, of course, that he has a couple, but he could certainly probably spend a bunch. Meanwhile, Halcyon doing the exact same play, so just kind of following the same path as Ozzy, but just a little bit behind right now. He's really going to need a little bit of something to kind of happen here and jar free this this lead that Ozzy's been clinging onto for a bit.
Well, and with these skills, it's actually really, high likelihood that we'll see some execution errors from one or both of our runners, right? Like, it's really easy when you don't have all of the normal skills that you like to have to potentially take a couple of, fairly moderately sized deaths. Now, Ozzy, though, without even really a safety save before Sorrow Bash pulls it off first try, just really wanted to prove me wrong there.
Yeah, he did a very nice execution of a lot of double bashes, and something that I'm seeing a lot from Ozzy is that on his double bashes, he's aiming Ori in the same direction that the enemy is going to travel. Usually you want to set yourself a little bit of an offset direction, but on that Sorrow Bash, he managed to time all of his next bashes so that he didn't collide with the enemy and take damage, which is easier said than done. So a very nice job by him and making sure to avoid any costly deaths there.
Okay, so some Sorrow checks from Ozzy here. I think he might be low on Keystones, or maybe he just really would like to get Charge, Jump, or Stomp. Would be very nice skills to have. Dash as well. Right now, he would have to break into the grenade tree if he, in order to get to that tree, using a not so great, actual trick to do it. I can't quite remember. I think Ozzy left his Frankie alive, so I think he can do it, but I'm having a little bit of trouble remembering.
Yeah, man, it's so long ago now, and this scene has been so, like, a little bit tedious. Like, it's not giving them anything. Everything has been hard fought for both runners as far as getting their progression. It has been in such bad locations. In Sorrow, Ozzy here, I mean, he could just try to continue straight up, but he's saying, you know what, we've been so starved, I bet there's something somewhere that we really want here.
Something Hal did there that was actually Ozzy leaving. I think he doesn't want to do left Sorrow, maybe. That might be the big thing here, is he doesn't want to do left Sorrow, and he doesn't want to do the Frog Micro Ledge. Which he'd have to do one of those two things right now in order to get higher up in Sorrow.
Well, there's a third option, but it involves double bashing a mortar shot for a lengthy distance.
That's
true. Yeah, not any more fun or any easier. But Halcyon says, I'm going to go for that.
Yeah, he's immediately jumping into that. Unfortunately, he was holding Glide there, which stuck him to the wall. And on top of that, it didn't look like the frog shot anyways. This is a really obnoxious trick that can generally take several attempts. He'll have to either reload his save or die or something here. Yeah, to take another attempt at this. But yeah, I think Hal at this point is expressing to us that he's in go mode. I think he's just trying to rush the pickups, and isn't too concerned about finding more skills, whereas Ozzy really would like to find a couple more skills here.
I don't even blame him in the slightest. Even if Halcyon does pull off all the tricks required for this, this could potentially be very slow.
Oh, and he does!
Nice.
All right, so now he's just going to float up, hopefully make a save immediately before going through the spike cave, because you would hate to have to do that trick again. But nicely done by him. Only a handful of attempts there on one of the more difficult tricks that you see in Randomizer.
Yeah, I mean, this trick caused a lot of problems for runners in vanilla all skills. You also saw him circle his keystones really briefly because he knows he only has 2, and he will need just these ones here. I think this is the only keystone door left that he really cares about. So 1 dupe should be enough. Now he's at 4. He should be able to just go ahead and open the door and head on in. Meanwhile, Ozzy, having checked some of the bottom of Valley, probably going to... question marks?
I think he's gonna. I'm not sure. I think he's trying to, check some. Oh, is he gonna go make the Ginso play? He might make the Ginso play.
Well, this is wow.
I mean, this isn't like a terrible play. It's just maybe a little too late for this play, right? Like if he had done this immediately after finding Bash, it wouldn't be the worst play because charge jump, stomp, dash, like any number of skills could be sitting in upper Ginso with a fairly high percentage chance of being up there. At this point, though, he's checked several other things, and those were good calls as well. It's just he checked those without, I guess, the readiness to potentially do what he needed to do in order to just continue on to trees.
Yeah, I think definitely heading in against those sooner might have still availed him. I mean, there's every chance that this still helps him a ton. We don't know what Halcyon's confidence level is with sequence breaking the grenade using only Bash, so that could be a problem for him. Of course, he could also just stumble on charge jump somewhere along the way and just be like, well, I'm good, everything's easy. But we'll see. The main problem with this play, of course, is it's just time-consuming, and at this stage of the seed, it's not super likely that it's going to save him as much time as he has to spend to get anything up here.
He really has to hope like dash, stomp, and charge jump all show up immediately. That would be a big potential factor here, because Hal is going to have to do all of Misty without dash, which is just fairly slow, but shouldn't be too bad with bash glides and double and triple jump. But he also has to do the reverse Frankie walk to get into grenade, the grenade tree area later on. So if Ozzy can potentially, minimize the amount of that backtrack or amount of that slow movement and those slow tricks that he has to do, as well as potentially give himself the ability to rocket jump in Sorrow to catch up some of the time there, then those are kind of his only outs, right? Otherwise, Hal's just going to keep rushing trees, and he'll eventually just win this while Ozzy's still checking.
Yeah, exactly. It's really just about the difference between whatever Ozzy manages to find in here versus Halcyon's confidence in doing some of these tricks. So far, nothing nice for Ozzy here at all.
Is it hiding it all in the escape, man?
That would be
the worst case.
There's one more pickup over here that he can check, so this might be something. But yeah, I mean, if there's nothing before this keystone door, he does have keystones, but it just adds more and more time.
It does, but at this point, this is his 3rd trip into Ginso. He's going through that door. Like, you at least want to get the teleporter at this point. You're not making a 4th trip if you're worried about doing so. Oh, okay, I was wrong. So Ozzy's like, all right, screw it. We're done with Ginso. I'm never going there again. And we'll see what he decides to go for next. Maybe checking this underwater pickup that we know is a health cell from Hal earlier on. Hal, meanwhile, almost to the climb tree himself, and all he'll have left is that grenade tree in order to complete his main objective and just be able to head to the end, to the final escape.
Yeah, I think right now the confidence for Halcyon is really going to make a big difference. We're going to see how he's going to do on that trick, but yeah, he would have to spend a lot of time on it to make up for the fact that Ozzy's still got 3 trees to go and isn't really making progress towards them due to this, presumably not feeling comfortable doing the various bash-only strats.
You know what it might have been, too, now that I think about it? If Ozzy was thinking about left Sorrow, he might not be comfortable skipping the laser in left Sorrow. And oh wow, he finds Stomp. Okay, so that's pretty nice, but again, might be a little late at this point. But Ozzy might have been worried about skipping the laser in left Sorrow and might either not remember, the casual way of doing it, or just was worried because he didn't have enough keystones. So it's very possible that like that was on his mind at the moment, or at the time rather. Hal, meanwhile, is doing a beautiful reverse Frankie Walk here, and will be breaking into the grenade area with this, while Ozzy's going to have to go right back up to Sorrow, probably.
Yeah, and like just Stomp at this point is probably like the skill that he least needed. Like Charge Jump would have been way nicer. Dash would have been fantastic, but alas, you don't really get to pick what you pick up here. So he is still going to be checking some pickups. He still does hope to see a skill along the way, but I mean, it's at this point it's kind of too little, too late either way. Halcyon fast approaching his 10th tree, doing his zombie Ori, pulling it off very nicely, so he will be able to get to grenade momentarily here.
Yeah, and Ozzy's gonna have to still do left Sorrow, so it was probably a different laser than the one I was describing that he was worried about. Maybe not knowing the ability, like knowing how to bash through the crack or something like that, which would be understandable since that's a very old all skills trick and not something that's been since Ozzy has started playing the game. So it's very possible that's why Stomp has given him the confidence here to go into Sorrow.
I will say I'm incredibly impressed with all of the newer randomizer players, all the ones who have picked up the randomizer recently and also who picked up the game specifically to pick up the randomizer. Like they're pulling out like strats from like way long ago, like old school like vanilla strats that you have to watch like, I don't know, a very obscure seed done by like a Mad Insane or somebody to even see someone do it nowadays.
Yeah,
and, they're picking these things up. It's really impressive.
With that knowledge occasionally comes forgetting some things, though, and Ozzy, I think, has probably had a handful of deaths just from not having the double health on save ability leveled up, but has instead just been sitting on those ability points. But again, it's not like that would have saved him, really. It came down to Hal got that micro ledge trick, pretty much, and Ozzy decided to keep looking for another skill. Oh,
and it always hurts when you end up in a situation like that because some of those tricks are really difficult, and for not being able to pull it off to basically be the difference between winning and losing. Because in this case, if Hal hadn't been able to pull it off, he probably would also have had to go farming for a while, and who knows when he would have gotten to find Stomp. So yeah, it's rough.
And Hal might have been able also to go left Sorrow and known about the bash through the crack or something, because I think he's been running significantly longer, and that's just kind of the experience that comes with older strats having initially been in your route, right?
Right.
But that's kind of why we gave Hal the edge in this matchup. To Ozzy's credit, though, like for a large portion of the seed, he was either ahead or it was evened out for the most part. And really just came down to that post bash pickup.
Yeah, just a really crazy sequence of events in this seed with the...
Hey, there's the level up I've been looking for.
With just that progression being so limited that we've only seen those 6 skills other than Spirit Flame. We still have never seen Dash. We've still never seen Charge Jump. We've still never seen Grenade. I guess we did see Stomp on Ozzy's side, but still.
Yeah, okay, so Ozzy doing this the kind of casual puzzle way is, that's probably why he was looking for something and ended up coming through here with Stomp later. Just not familiar with bashing off the tumbleweed through the crack. Again, don't blame him. It's not used in runs anymore, and you rarely see it even in Randomizer, so not too surprising. Hal in this escape, though, he's got plenty of health, plenty of jumps, plenty of energy, and an explosion power upgrade, so the energy doesn't even matter. So it's not going to be the fastest of escapes with no dash and all that, and no grenade jumps, but shouldn't be too difficult of a one for him.
Yeah, and he's not even going to have too much difficulty with this water, because even though he doesn't have ultra defense, boy, he has a lot of health.
Yeah.
I appreciate that he's bashing the fish out of the water. This is important because he doesn't have a lot of height gain potential, so he needed to do that to skip the Kuro cutscene, Kuro spawn trigger. So now he's safe and he can finish up shortly.
Yeah, and skipping that spawn trigger is more safety than anything. Like, it's probably slightly faster to skip that trigger and just go straight up and bash off the rocks rather than having to hide in the cove on the right side. But it's not, it's not a gigantic time investment or anything. So always good to just play it a little safe at the end. Don't want to suddenly lose it. He can't know that his opponent's not in the escape at the same time as him. And Ozzy's going to head to his next tree, probably to Valley, so he can go to Misty. Yeah, there's the teleport. And he'll just be doing his cleanup and unfortunately find out pretty soon that it's a little too late. Also, nice extra double jump from Warmth Returned. I like that. I
didn't even notice that. That's fantastic.
That's pretty funny.
All right. Well, Halcyon just holding right here. Just needs to wait a few extra seconds here as he marches through the final cutscene. And Ori gets crushed by the talons of an angry bird. And then a large forest creature of some sort waddles to the left or to the right from the left. Whatever, directions are hard. And that's going to be it for him.
Man, that's a seed.
Yeah, dude, I'm exhausted. Holy crap.
And we're not even the ones running it and having to use like, it's kind of funny that the mental factor of still trying to figure out the puzzle of the logic is something you can actually still hit as a commentator, but the execution factor, we didn't have to do any of that garbage. And there was a lot of it involved in this seed. So man, I can only imagine how our runners feel in this case.
Yeah, and if Ozzy has SRL chat open, which I actually think is not super likely, I believe he plays on one monitor. So he probably doesn't know that he has taken the loss, but I'm going to take a guess that based on the progression that occurred in this seed, he probably has, if he's even thinking about it, he probably has like kind of a gnawing feeling at his heart that's like, I have a bad feeling about this type of deal.
Well, even in a bad seed, anytime you get over an hour, that fear really starts to creep in, right?
Yeah.
Because you might have just gotten randoed. It's something where, oh, maybe it took me a long time to find Bash, but maybe my opponent found double jump and Bash right away. Like, you just can't know. And so there's always that suspicion. But you got to keep playing it out if you're unable to see who's won or not. Always got to make sure.
Yeah, exactly. If you were to just if you were ahead, for example, not that I know anyone in any Link to the Past randomizer tournament that might do this, but if you were to be ahead in a seed and then forfeited because you got too much in your own head, that would be a mistake. So, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, that would definitely be pretty rough.
All right, we are heading back into Blackroot Burrows on Ozzy's side. We are going to head to the grenade tree. No dash, no grenade jumps. So the most likely method of entry is going to be Zombie Ori, which I'm pretty sure that Ozzy has learned and will be putting to use here. Then we'll get a cutscene skip on our favorite cutscene at the top of Blackroot, or the grenade area.
He also has triple jump, so he could potentially just try to skip over the laser using triple jump. So we'll see. In the meantime, though, as Ozzy kind of cleans up his last couple trees and stuff here, I'm going to go ahead and pull in the victor of the race here. We've got Hal joining us now in the call. Congratulations on the victory, Hal.
I did not think I had any shot at that after I took so long finding double jump and bash.
Well, all right. So immediately answering our first two questions. But to piggyback off of that, were those specifically double jump? It was in Horrorfield Hell Cell, right? Was that a pickup that immediately came to mind when you started having to search all those one-offs and then you just kind of prioritized it for later? Or was it something that you kind of forgot about for a while and then eventually went back to?
Honestly, I usually check it pretty quickly when I'm in the Iceless area, so it was kind of off my radar because it was like, okay, I've already checked Iceless, and then it was actually because I picked up, what was it? There was a map stone that I got off of the ability cell right above. And so I dropped down into the Iceless map area, plugged that in, and I went, oh, I haven't done a lot of this yet, have I? Or it was something like that. It was like, I went through there and was like, I haven't done hardly any of this area. So I went out and grabbed it, and And it was double jump, and I was like, oh god, Osey had to get this like 15 minutes ago.
And you're not wrong. Ozzy actually did get double jump very early, but you were saved quite a bit by your prioritization of your backtracking with double jump. It took Ozzy a pretty long time to find bash after double jump, and you found it relatively quickly. Now, after, I mean, Vulagindia, if you have a question for Hal here, as Ozzy's watching a cute little bird.
Yeah, Hal, so, you know, the double jump and bash things were really, they were actually pretty even between you and Ozzy, but the question to me is, it's about what you guys did after that point. When you got bash, aside from checking a bunch of things in Ginso Tree, you did get climb, of course. You mostly seemed to settle into a go mode. What is the evaluation that you go through when you were figuring that out? And how the heck are you already that consistent at the stupid micro legend Sorrow?
It was really a matter of, you know, I got bash and I went, okay, what trees can I get to right away? Okay, I can get to Swamp Tree. I'll go get Stomp, and then we'll reevaluate from there. I'd already done Ginso, because I went in when I got double jump, because I was like, okay, there's got to be progression in Ginso. Double jump was stupid early. Water Vein was stupid early. Progression's got to be in Ginso, and I get climb. And climb was not progression.
Yeah, no, it was definitely not.
So at that point, I kind of went, okay, I have both keys. I can complete the seed if I touch all the trees and I do the final escape. And I have all the tools I need to do the final escape. I have bash, I have a million jumps, I have glide, and that's all I need. I can break the walls with Sea Flame.
And so cut in just for a quick moment. Ozzy, excellently done with the first try wall jump, or wall jump. The first try door warp. It's been a seed, man. Is going to now start his final escape. But please carry on, Hal, with what you were thinking in that moment.
Yeah. So it kind of just became a matter of, okay, I just need to go and touch the trees. Is there any tree I can't touch? Well, I can get through Misty. I've got glide and a million jumps and bash. I can get to Feather. I can do Stompless, or I can just have Wilhelm shoot the rock for me. I can zombie into Light Grenade and bash the Frankie over the top. Alright, Sorrow. I guess I'm gonna micro-ledge that.
Oh man, because and left Sorrow was an option, so did that like pop into your head, or were you just like, nah, I really want to just get this micro-ledge?
Left Sorrow actually wasn't an option for me because I didn't have Stomp.
Oh,
so
okay. So you had the same problem that Ozzy had of not knowing the Stompless way of getting through there, I think.
I could have, I suppose, taken, let's see here, if I went all the way around Left Sorrow and multiple jump, you know, like triple jumped and glided my way across the top of the laser, and GG to Ozzy.
Yeah, Ozzy wrapping up, just holding right now for the last minute 20 or so. So congratulations on finishing for him.
I suppose if I had gotten to there, then I could use the, I could put the tumbleweed on the laser and float up like that. But that didn't even enter my mind because I went, well, I've got bash and glide, and I've been practicing the stupid micro ledge, and the stupid micro ledge. Well, all right, let's go for the stupid micro ledge.
Well, you got it pretty, relatively quickly there, and it's pretty much that's a big factor in what decided this race. So congratulations once again on that, Hal, staving off elimination for now, and we'll be looking forward to your next match. See if you can make that all-important bracket stage or not.
Hopefully it won't be quite so exhausting and baffling as this one was.
Oh, man. I mean, yeah, that's how we feel, too, as Ozzy's going to wrap up here in just a moment. What certainly must have been a very exhausting seed for him as well. He will come in with a final time of 1:12.12. Definitely not anyone's idea of the amount of time that they want to spend on a randomizer seed in a tournament race, but he does manage to finish up and conquer a very, very difficult seed.
All right, 1:12.12 is final one, 1:04.08 for Hal, and that's pretty much going to do it for us here in this match today. We have some more stuff coming up for you pretty soon. I'm definitely not stalling for time to refresh the schedule.
Oh,
not
dude,
at
I got
all.
you. No problem. Tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on the Speed Gaming 3, we will be having Shed and Richard facing off against one another. That will be a 3-0 match. So that'll be our first one of the matches in which there's actually nothing at stake, sort of. There's
bragging
no
rights, man,
on the line. Yeah, the rankings, I guess, for where they get seated in the bracket are on the line. But otherwise, that should be a really fun match with not as much at stake as in this one. So it should be a good time. Make sure to tune in to Speed Gaming 3 at that point.
Yeah, until then, it's been... normally I say it's been a fun one. It's been a challenging one. No, it really has been. I like trying to figure out the puzzle of the logic alongside the runners. I think that's super enjoyable. It was fun to do it with you here, Vooligan. And I'll be looking forward to your commentary as well on that next match on Speed Gaming 3.
Indeed. Likewise to you, and also thanks very much to Athos and Stolblaka in our truck today, and thank you for Tara for restreaming for us. Much appreciated as always.